Yeah, directing the actors was something quite new for us, I think, because we're not used to directing anyone, basically. But we were lucky because we had really good actors that were really well cooperating, and especially like considering that they were like not experienced in acting in like a professional way, they did very, very well. We were very, very lucky with the ones we had. But it was surprising that sometimes we had to give specific information to them about like how to act something, what the background is that we didn't necessarily think about before, because we know like the storyline in our head and how we want the people to come across, but it's sometimes harder to explain that to someone who has not been involved in the whole concept of planning and everything. So there was something new.
Yeah, and using Elise to play Rosie was so fitting because originally she doesn't have a specific style, does she? She's quite general and average and stereotypically average. What she wears doesn't like fit any specific social groups, I suppose, so it doesn't discriminate against anyone who would be watching, again widening our target audience, so anyone could watch it really and really connect with Rosie and sympathise for her. So she really fitted well for the part.
The filming and editing was quite a big part of the whole production, and probably the hardest part of it, because we both had to get used to like having like a bit experience didn't make it any better, because neither of us had edited with Pinnacle before, did we? So it was completely new. I hadn't used GarageBand before. You did?
I have, but a couple of years ago, so it was basically
so
new.
There was also something new. So we had some issues with the lighting. For example, in some scenes we had shadows or we had backlightings on stuff which was actually really important. For example, when Max bends down to tie his shoes, which didn't come across as well as we would like it to in the ending product, because there was just the shadows were really bad in this particular shot. And using non-artificial lighting also led to the problem that we had to hurry up while filming because the sun was going down. So there was the reason we eventually had to refilm again, and that was better then.
So our scenes just did not fit together with different lighting. We'd go from dark to light to dark, and we tried to edit it, but it was just not realistic.
The effects just don't look good in the end.
It was just better to just go and refilm and get a good final product instead of a okay final product. And from our preliminary tasks, we did learn that using Pinnacle, it is hard to get exact, and in our preliminary test it was slow paced. Because we couldn't cut it exactly where we wanted to, we didn't know how to do that at that stage. It was very slow paced, but then when we got used to it, doing our final cut, we knew how to zoom into our separate clips and then cut it. So then it didn't delay on a scene that didn't need to be there. We could just go.
We've got some quite nice match on action there. Because of that.
Yeah, so match on action was used really well, and it fits and it doesn't look jumpy, which is really what we wanted to achieve. I think we did that quite well, didn't we?
Yeah. That was really important to us, I think.
Yeah.
And also there were the good thing about Pinnacle is that it has like a big variety about effects you can use, especially on the visual. So we did use an effect for the scene when Max does bend down to tie his shoes, when we see his point of view. So we kind of tried to make that look different from what the rest of the movie looks like, so that we have like kind of a blurry version of his view to also indicate that he's like a bit different, maybe, and to like imply on his on his mental illness and everything. So make that look different, which was quite easy to do. Thanks to Pinnacle, that was good. Yeah, and we did learn how to use GarageBand and Pinnacle in the end, and how to export videos and sounds, and how to transfer it to computers, so that was quite handy.
Yeah, it took a lot of playing with GarageBand to just get our heads around it and use it in an effective way. And then when we had our music that we really wanted to use, it took a while for us to figure out how to get it from a Mac to our computer onto Pinnacle. But we finally did it, and it does work really well, doesn't it? And now we can do it like that. So.
It did turn out well. And we could also re-record some sounds we need, like the ringtones. We couldn't film them when she was walking far away.
Yeah, we could use GarageBand to do that.
Yeah, and the breathing sounds.
The breathing,
That was good.
Yeah.
Then, okay, my favorite bit about the movie is probably when Rosie answers the phone when she's hiding in this kind of weird dark place. Because it's like the first time we hear her talking. It's the only time we hear them communicating, and I think it tells us a lot about her, because she kind of sounds brave, but at the same time scared, and I think the actress did that very well as well. We also get, in my opinion, a really nice close-up there, which is one of the little close-ups we have in the whole thing, so it adds something else. And it's just a really good shot, I think. And then afterwards he walks away, and we have that match in action when she puts down the phone and he puts down the phone, and we just see him from the back, and he walks kind of into nowhere somehow. So it's also adds to the Enigma code.
Yeah.
It's a good bit, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
My favourite part was the last scene when Rosie's on the bridge and then she walks away and reveals that Max is actually stood behind her. It's my favourite bit because you kind of get the sense that Rosie's safe, right? She's on the bridge, she's around everyone, nothing can harm her. And then she moves away and he's there, and it kind of like sends a shiver down your spine, and yeah, it really like grabs you, like you think you're safe and then you're like, oh, right, okay, he's there. So then it does make you jump, and it is really unsurprising. So I think, yeah, it just adds to
it
extra tension, and it really makes you on the edge of your seat. Like, really supporting Rosie, being worried for her well-being, to be honest, really, isn't it?
And then it's over, so it's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, so. Definite cliffhanger.
Yeah. And the least favourite bit is probably the same for both of us.
Yeah.
Because we have had that issue with the scene where Max bends down to tie his shoes, and not only is someone walking into our shot there, thankfully, but also you can't really tell it's him. Like, there's just someone going in there in the end and bending down. And we did try to zoom in and pan across, but it came out with really bad quality, so we didn't use it.
Yeah, it would have really worked if the quality was well, but
it would have just.
It was
worse.
Such a difference. It wasn't worth it. It was just.
It wasn't
just
good.
Wouldn't have worked. No.
So, but that was the only point we got really criticism for, I think, in the end when we sent out our survey, because you just can't. Because afterwards we have the shot of the shoes, and you can't really tell it's him. You can just guess, but we would have liked to show that it's him.
Yeah, that's from our first set of feedback from our first cut. People just didn't really understand who he was. So then, taking that on board, you tried to use Pinnacle to give him a different effect. So then our second lot of feedback was much better, and people were beginning to understand that it was him, not from us telling us, from them just picking it up from the film, which was still does annoy us a bit that is not completely clear, but it's as clear as we could get it without having to refilm, because there was just no time, and it would have taken up too much time, and we would have lost time on the editing. So it was just worth just doing as much as we could with giving him an effect.
Yeah, really. I mean, it does add to the sense of mystery.
Yeah, it does.
So
Enigma Code, he could be anyone. Yeah,
but it's definitely something we learn for the next time.
Yeah, definitely. Like next time we would know how to take loads of different shots and not having. Maybe we wouldn't see the shot that we just took of right, but that's the one. We would take a couple of them that could be actually what we use, and choose at a later date when it comes to editing, because the one that we set on, that one, it might not actually work when it comes to editing. So having a variety of really good ones does give us a leeway of
much more choice.
Much more choice,
just turn out better.